प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशकारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So we just saw in the previous slokas about attaining the supreme, right? So, and also we saw a breakout room on how wherever the devotee goes, he carries Vrindavan. Now that's what we had a breakout room, Prabhu, about how he creates the mood of Vrindavan, right? Around. Yeah. So Vrindavan by his devotional service. So wherever a pure devotee goes, he carries Vrindavan in him, with him. So that was the verse we had. I mean, that's a discussion.
Yes, Mataji, yes, we had that.
Huh?
Yes. Hare Krishna.
Right. Okay. So today we'll continue from sloka 15, 8.15. Okay. I might have some network issue. So please let me know in the chat if you're not able to hear or something. Okay, so this is about 8.15. This is about result of pure devotional service. And what in 118 Krishna, no rebirth in the material world. That's what 15 sloka says. Mamupetya punarjanma dukhalayama shashvatam napnavandi mahatmana samsiddhim paramam gati. After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. So it is said dukhalayam ashashvatam. So as we know, when we go to Vastralayam, you get clothes, and you get Pustakalayam, you get books. So similarly here it is called as Dukhalayam, right? So Dukhalayam, or this material world is compared to a jail. In what aspect? It's like a brainstorming. You can all put your views. You can all unmute. Right? In what way do you think this is Dukhalayam, or this material world is compared to jail? Prabhupada, most of the time he says this is like a jail. Yes, Biju Prabhu.
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Hello. Hare Krishna. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is compared to the jail because like in the jail, you are confined within, you might have some freedom, but within the confined world. And you would always be monitored by the jailer there. So, and based on your crime, again, you even if you're getting released, based on your crime, you might be coming back to the jail. So similarly, in this material world, based on our karma, it's a temporary world. Based on our karma, we might keep coming back to this dukhalayam, this jail again and again. So that's one way of looking at it.
Good. Yes. So based on the karma, like as the people in the jail, they repeat the sin and they get the punishment again. They come back to the jail. So similarly, when we do some sin or we are associated with ignorance, in the mode of ignorance, and definitely we get punished, or the reaction comes and we take rebirth again and again, right? As and Prabhu said, constantly watched. Yes, we are also under control. We are watched by the material nature and everything. So in that way, yes. Ready, Prabhu? Want to add something? Yes, ready.
Mataji, same answer. Actually, it is the crimes we commit, we are put in jail. Similarly, because of our karma, because of whatever sins we commit, we come back to this material world again and again.
Yes.
Same thing.
What are they? How do you compare this material world to a jail?
In the jail, basically, you do not enjoy. You are actually always facing punishment. It's a punishment. So similarly, in the material world, coming back to material world is a punishment rather than a liberation.
Yes, it's a punishment. Yes. So that's what is happening here. So Suma says, yes, everything we have to face the consequences, and there is an end for the happiness. Yes. Yes, Mataji, anything, any other points?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Whatever the happiness that we enjoy here in this material world is limited, Mataji. Like it has a boundary, and beyond that we cannot enjoy. It's limited. After that we'll come to the same sorrow mode, and it keeps changing. It is not eternal like spiritual happiness.
Yes. And also it is said that, see, when we go for punishment, we have to remove the dress. No, there is a uniform there with some number, badge or something. There's a uniform inside the jail. So you are not allowed to wear the karmi dress or whatever dress we have. So similarly, this body itself is a dress. So when we come to this material world, so-called jail, we remove our spiritual dress. In a sense, we get a material dress. That's this body, different dresses. And once we get liberated and we go back to our spiritual world, then we remove this dress. In the sense, as the jailer and the jail person, the prisoner, they remove the uniform and puts his normal dress. So similarly, our normal dress is the spiritual body, and this is just a material dress. That's another way of looking at it. So all are in the jail because the handcuffs we have, that's called Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi, the birth, death, old age, disease. That's why it's called Dukhalayam. And there is a jail keeper, no? He is not abiding by the rules. The punishment is for the jailer, the prisoners, not the prison person. He is free. Similarly, the Lord is aloof. Even though he comes to the material world, he's aloof from the three modes of material nature. And there is suffering, yes. And why we are put in the jail, why people are put into the jail, so that they regret for what sins they have done, no? So similarly, we are in this material world because so that we regret for forgetting Krishna because we became envious of Krishna. So we wanted to be independent. So all that we remember, and then we want to overcome all that, or we want to regret. This is a chance for us to, material nature or material world is a chance to revive our consciousness, to make us feel, to understand our defect. So if we are intelligent, we should not come back to this material world or jail again. So there is a comparison between spiritual world and material world given later on. So Mahatmas are great souls. They attain Lord Krishna directly. There's the highest perfection. They don't come back. Mahatmas, they don't come back. Never fall down from the highest Vaikuntha planet, and they don't return to the temporary world because the material world is full of miseries. And they have attained the highest perfection. Already they got Vaikuntha. So the Vedic literatures describe superior planet as Avyakta or Akshara or Param Gati. Avyakta means beyond the material vision. And Param Gati is the supreme destination. Okay. So Prabhupada describes Mahatmas receive transcendental message from the realized devotees, and thus gradually develop devotional service to Krishna. In Krishna consciousness, become so absorbed in transcendental service that they no longer desire elevation to material planets. Even heavenly planets they don't want. They don't want to be, nor do they even want to be transferred to the spiritual planets. They are happy. They just want Krishna and Krishna's association. Right? They don't bother wherever they are. Narayana Parasarvena Kutashana Vipidi Swarga Apavarga Narageshu Api Tulyata Darshana. They don't care whether it's heaven or hell or wherever they are. They're happy until and unless they do devotional service. That's how a pure devotee is. So that's what it is said here. This material world is Dukhalayam Ashashvatam. It's temporary also. Right? So jail is also not anyone's personal place to stay. It's temporary time. There is a time period in which you should be in the jail. Similarly, in the material world also, there's a time period. So many comparisons. Prabhupada's like, we are all in the jail. You might be in the first class jail, second class jail, third class jail. It depends on our karma, based on the karma. But jail is jail. So this is, we are abide by the rules of the jail. So in 8:16, it says, Brahma Bhuvanarloga Punar Avartanorjuna Mamopetita Kaunteya Punar Janmana Vidyate. This is a very nice sloka. So it says, from the highest planet of the material world. So we should know Brahma's world is also in the material world. See, The topmost planet in the material world is Brahma's world. You know the Goloka chart, no? The 14 planetary system. So that is Bur, Bhuvar, Lok, Swargalok, all that. That even Brahma's Lok, Satyalok is also in the material world. That means there is birth, death, old age, disease. But there's no disease and old age, it is said, because they've drunk the Amrita. So from the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are place of miseries where repeated birth and death takes place. But one who attains Krishna's abode, son of Kunti, never takes birth again. Mam upeti the kaundeya punarjanmana vidyate. So what is the use of going to the heavenly planets? Again, you have to come back. So from the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of miseries. Repeated birth and death takes place. But who attains Krishna never takes birth again. So all kind of yogis, karmis, jnanis, hatha yogis, they have to come to Krishna consciousness before they go to Krishna's abode. Like we know the example of Durvasa Muni. Went up to Vaikuntha, but he could not stay there, came back. Bhrigu Muni. No, they could not go up to Vaikuntha. They went, but they could not stay. They came back. Even the four Kumaras. Those who attain highest material planets, the planets of demigods, are subject to repeated birth and death, and again they fall down to earth. So how to achieve the topmost planet in the material world of Brahmaloka is by Panjagni Vidya of sacrifice, that is by worshipping the demigods. They go to demigods planets. So Prabhupada writes, those who progress in Krishna consciousness on the higher planets are gradually elevated to higher and higher planets at the time of universal devastation and are transferred to the eternal spiritual kingdom. And Prabhupada quotes from Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan's commentary on Bhagavad Gita, when there is devastation on the material universe, Brahma and his devotees who are constantly engaged in Krishna consciousness are transferred to the spiritual universe and to specific spiritual planets according to their desire. Okay, so that's what 16 says. The next section is about material world and spiritual world. The comparison is given, and only refuge from ocean of birth and death is Lord's abode. When you go there, no more repeated birth and death. This abode is only attained. Vaikunta. What is the meaning of Vaikunta? Does anyone know? Vaikunta, it is said.
Without anxiety, Mataji.
Vigata Kunta. That means there's no anxiety. There's no anxiety. Why we have anxiety? Because of birth, death, old age, disease. There is no birth, death, old age, disease there. Right, in the Vaikunta Longa. So it's called Vaikunta, Vigata Kunta. There is no anxiety. And the material world is temporary and miserable. Dukhalayam ashashvatam. And everyone should suffer birth, death, old age, disease here. And there's constant creation and annihilation. Bhutva, bhutva, praliyate. Right. And here it is said about the duration. One kalpa. That is 1 day of Brahma equal to 12 hours of Brahma equal to 1 night of Brahma. So we'll see one kalpa means 1000 yuga cycles. Each cycle has 4 yugas. Like Satya Yuga is one, you can see Kali Yuga, you start from here, 4,32,000. Double is Dwapar Yuga, that's 8,64,000. 3 times is Treta Yuga and 4 times is Satya Yuga. So one whole thing, this is the whole thing, Satya Yuga, Treta, Dwapar is one kalpa. So like that, one kalpa is equal to 100 yuga cycles. So one lifespan of Brahma is 100 years of Brahma. That's 311 trillion years, earth years, okay? That's why when Brahma stole the cowherd boys and everything, and how long it has passed in earth that time? Brahma just took 1 minute or something, no? And when the Akasur was killed on the same day, and Brahma stole all the cowherd boys and calves. Then after how many? Yeah, Jyotilakshmi got it right. 1 year. So what happened? 1 year they were in Brahma. For Brahma it was 1 minute, but when he came back, 1 year have passed in earth. And the boys went to their mothers and said, Akasur was killed. Actually, Akasur was killed 1 year back. And Parikshit Maharaj asked, Akasur was killed yesterday, today, and then why they say 1 year after 1 year, they said, so that 1 year Brahma have stolen them. So Brahma's lifespan is also actually insignificance of Brahma's lifespan is in the point of eternity. Prabhupada writes, by this calculation, life of Brahma seems fantastic. But then from the viewpoint of eternity, it's briefing as a lightning flash. In the causal ocean, there is innumerable Brahmas rising and disappearing like bubbles in the Atlantic Ocean. So Brahma and his creation are not part of this material universe, and there is a constant flux. So if there is no one to come in the position of Brahma, Lord Vishnu himself becomes Brahma. And you know that Brahma Vimohan Leela, after that, so many Brahmas came from so many Brahmandas, universes. Then Brahma came to know, oh, I'm just Chaturmukha Brahma in this universe. Like that, there's multiple universe and there's so many Brahmas. So even if it goes to Brahma's world, then what is the use of use? Because you come back again, right? So it says Sahasra Yuga Pariyantam Aharyar Brahmano Vido Ratri Muga Sahasrantam Te Aho Ratra Vidhojana. The human calculation, 1,000 ages taken together from the duration of Brahma's one day. And also such is the duration of his night. So it have 311 trillion years. So 17 to 19, there's a duration of material universe is mentioned. It is limited. Avyaktat Vyaktaya Sarva Prabhavanti Aharagame Ratri Agame Pralayante Tatre Vaikta Samajnake. At the beginning of Brahma's day, all living entities become manifest from the unmanifest state, and thereafter, when the night falls, they emerge into the unmanifest state again. So in Brahma's law, if compared to material planets, it's not free from birth, death, old age, disease. And why should we go to Brahma's world? Who goes? Only elevated sannyasis, and then they come down again. Fate of Brahma is because of the service of the Lord, he gets liberated. Oh, that's what happened to Brahma. There's a position actually. Brahma, Indra is a position, not a person. So Bhuta Bhuta Pralayya means repeatedly there is creation and destruction. Repeatedly. Okay, there is partial devastation and full devastation. Okay, partial means the Satyalok, Janalok and Maharlok will stay and all other parts will get destroyed. And complete devastation means the whole planetary system goes down. Yes, Suma Mataji?
Hare Krishna Mataji, I have a doubt Mataji. Does Brahma also come back to this material world again? He'll take birth or will he go to Goloka Mataji?
Actually, it is said that Brahma, because he is doing devotional service, he is a devotee of Krishna now. So definitely he goes back. That's what it said. But then that Brahma, Vimohan Leela, everything happens. And the same Brahma sometimes comes as Haridas Thakur. No, when Krishna comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You understood? So it is possible to go back to Krishna even at the time in Brahma's world, but not everyone goes back. Why? Because they get lost in the happiness in the spirit, in the world, heavenly planets. Right? So they don't go back. But then Brahma is a devotee of the Lord, so definitely he goes. And then after all his pastimes, he go back. And when that nobody is in that position of Brahma, the Lord himself comes as Brahma. That's what it is said. So here it is said,
Thank you,
because
Mataji.
of the service to the Lord, he gets liberated. Okay, that's the fate of Brahma. He's a devotee and he's in a highest planetary system, no? Satyaloka. And Brahma gets bewildered in between, but then definitely he is Lord's devotee, so he goes back. But other living entity souls, there's less chance of doing devotional service there. That means we come down. So annihilation at Brahma's night, all living entities remain compact in the body of Vishnu. So how is the creation happening? The Lord expires, right? Inhales and exhales. When he exhales, creation happens, and inhales, pralaya happens. I also said in the pores, the different universes are created. So the end of Brahma's life, all living entities remain unmanifest for millions of years, again to manifest in another millennium. So 3 types of annihilations experienced at the time of death. Every time he takes a body, at the end of Brahma's day, at the end of Brahma's life, 3 types of annihilation takes place. So intelligent people have to take to Krishna consciousness, because we have to use the human life fully in devotional service, chanting Hare Krishna, no more rebirth. They're transferred at the end of this life to the spiritual planet of Krishna and become eternally blissful. Because it said, no, yanti deva yada deva pidri yanti pidri vrita bhutani yadi bhojencha yadi madhyajino pima. If we worship Krishna, we go back to Krishna. Sometimes they say, oh, you worship any demigod, you go back to Krishna. No, if you purchase the ticket to Calcutta, you go to Calcutta only. You don't go to Mumbai. So similarly, you worship Krishna, you go to Krishna. You worship demigods, we go to them. And that's why it is said. So that's what covered in 17, 18 and 19 sloka. Again and again, Bhutva Bhuta Praliyate. Bhutva, right? Bhuta Gramasa Eva Ya Bhutva Bhutva Praliyate Ratri Agame Vasa Prartha Prabhavanti Ahar Agame. Again and again, when Brahma's day arrives, all living entities come into being, and with the arrival of Brahma's night, they are helplessly annihilated. So what will happen, like when Satyuga, when Kali Yuga ends and Kalki comes and destroys everyone? What will happen to those who are not liberated? Those who are liberated go back to the spiritual world. But what happens to those who are not liberated? What will happen to those souls at the end of Kali Yuga? Yes, ready, Prabhu?
My guess is that based on their karmas, they will take birth again.
Yes. So,
Species of.
So Mama says he absorbed in Mahatattva, that is material nature, material energy. Yes, Biju Prabhu.
Yeah, just adding to what Reddy Prabhu said, as per the karma, we might come back, but at that point in time, it would be start of Satyuga, right?
Yeah, Satyuga starts. Yes. So this, imagine again in Satyuga, our lifespan is 1 lakh years.
Right.
And again, going through all the cycles, it's so difficult. That's why it is said Kali Yuga is in Kali Yuga, it's very easy process to go back and try to go back. And it says next 10,000 years are the golden age of Kali. And Srila Prabhupada's books are the law books. But after that, Bhagavatam explains the miserable condition of Kali Yuga. It seems people become short-lived and short-sized, and also there won't be food to eat. People will start killing each other and eating, and so many things are mentioned in Bhagavatam. Yes, Biju Prabhu.
Mataji, just one question. So, in a way, when we say at the end of Kali Yuga, whoever is getting rebirth, they would get into Satyuga. So, in a way, is it a promotion because there's going to be more pious state, right, in Satyuga as compared to Kali Yuga?
Even if it's a promotion, still there is suffering only, na Prabhu. Birth, death, old age, disease keeps happening, and there is all suffering. And sometimes it may not be in the earth itself. We might go to some hellish planets, heavenly planets. We don't know, no? Possible?
Yes.
So what if we are not born in earth only, or as some, yes?
Maybe not as a human being, maybe.
Maybe not as a human being, can be in an animal species, plant species, trees.
Yeah.
Some trees, they stay like 500, 600 years. No, some trees. Just imagine. So it's better to go back in this life itself. I mean, not in this life, not possible to completely Krishna conscious 100%, but at least in some janmas. Yeah, we can come back in other universe also, some other universe, some other planetary system. They're possible. It's all possible, right? So based on karma, only Krishna knows where we are going to go. Only he knows our next janma, he knows our previous janma. Okay. So yes, so 20 to 21 is explaining about the spiritual world, how the spiritual world is. Parastasmatu bhavo anyo avyakto avyakta shantana yasa sarveshu bhuteshu nashtyashu na vinashyati. Yet there is another unmanifested nature which is eternal and is transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested matter. It is supreme and is never annihilated. When all in this world is annihilated, that part remain as it is. That's what I told. Partial devastation and complete pralaya will come. It seems the upper planetary system, the Brahma's world, that Satyalok, Janalok, and Maharlok stays, and rest everything becomes under Garbhodakshaya ocean. You've seen, no, the Garbhodakshaya ocean is there, Garbhodakshaya, Vishnu lies, and from its navel, all the 14 planetary system comes. So partial dissolution, all the other planetary system goes inside the water, and complete dissolution, everything goes. So here it is said, even annihilation happens, the supreme planet, spiritual world remains as it is. Vaikuntha and Goloka remains as it is. Rest, everything goes inside. So spiritual world is eternal, it's free from birth and death, it's infallible, it's Achyuta, like Krishna only, because Krishna's superior energy is opposite to material energy quality. It's full of unlimited bliss as opposed in the material world, which is full of misery. It fulfills all desire. That means it's kalpataru. The Gologa is explained like that. Chinta mani pragara salmatu kalpa vriksham laksha vadeshu surabir apipalayandam lakshmi sahasra sadasam brahmasevamana govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. So Chintamani, it is like wish fulfilling trees are there. It's all attractive and it's unmanifested to the mundane eyes. It's transcendental to manifest and unmanifested world. Okay, Lord's about never changes like material world. And its supreme destination, a place of no return. So 20 to 21 again says, Avyakto akshara iti uktas tam anhu paramam gadim yaprapyana nivartande tadhamam paramam mamam Prapyana nivartande. Once you go back, no coming back. That which the Vedanta describe as unmanifest and infallible, that which is known as the supreme destination, that place from which, having attained, one never returns. That is supreme abode. Right? Once you go there, no more returning back. So Prabhupada makes mention in that purport about the spiritual world. He says the supreme abode of the supreme personality of Krishna is described in Brahma Samhita as Chintamani Dhama, Chintamani Pragarasalmatu Kalpa Vriksha, a place where his desires are fulfilled. The supreme abode of Lord Krishna, known as Goloka Vrindavan, is full of places made of touchstone. There are trees called desire tree, Kalpa Vriksha. What is desire tree? Anyone knows? How is that tree called a desire tree? Those trees are not found here. What is a desire tree?
All our wishes will be fulfilled, Mataji. Any wishes.
If it's a like here in this material world, there's a mango tree. You ask only mango, you get it. But desire trees are like you ask any fruit and you get it from that tree. That's called desire tree. Right? Even Vaishnavas are called Vancha Kalpatarus, Robustya. That means they are also desire tree, wish fulfilling tree, and supply any type of eatable upon demand. And there are cows called Surabhi cows, which have unlimited supply of milk. And in this abode, there is a Lord is served by hundreds and thousands of goddess of fortune. This is the first verse. Chintamani Pragarasalmatu Kalpavriksham Lakshavadesh Surabhi Abhipalayandam Lakshmi Sahasra Sata Sambramame Seviyamanam. He's called Govinda, the premium Lord, the cause of all cause. The Lord is accustomed to blow flute. Venum Kanvanta Maravinda Dayala Raksham Barhat Radamsham Ashutam Buddha Sundarangam Kantar Pakoti Kamaniya Vishesha Shopam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bajami Venum Kanvanta. We have a flute. Transiliform is more attractive in all the world. His eyes are like lotus petals, Aravinda Dayala Raksham. And color of a body is like the color of clouds. And he's so attractive that beauty excels that of thousands of cupids. Kandarpa Koti Kamaniya Vishesha Shobha. He wears a saffron cloth and a garland around his neck and a peacock feather in his hair. Right? And how to attain the Lord? That is given in 22 sloka. Purushasa Parapartha Bhaktyalabhyestu Ananyaya Yashyanta Stani Bhutani Yena Sarvam Idam Tatam. The Supreme Personality Godhead is greater than all, is attained by unalloyed devotion. Bhaktya Mama Vichanati. Although he is present in his abode, he is all pervading and everything is situated within him. Golokera Nivishati Akilatma Buddha. Krishna is in Goloka, but he is inconceivable. He is there everywhere. The Supreme Personality Godhead is greater than all, is attained by unalloyed devotional service. That's called Ananya Bhakti. Anya Abhilashita Shunyam, pure devotion. Although he's present in his abode, he's all pervading and everything is situated within him. This really mentions the supreme destination from which there is no return once you go back. Sometimes they say ISKCON is also like that. I'll just go to ISKCON and have some prasad and come back, we'll think. I'll just go and come. But then once you come back, no going out. If you're fortunate, you stay. Rest people, they go. It doesn't match. It's not important somebody falls from ISKCON. It's normal. But somebody staying in ISKCON, that's a great thing, because it needs a lot of tolerance and patience and everything to stay in Krishna consciousness. So there is varietiness in spiritual energy. Ananda Chinya Rasa Pradipavita. So translation is, I worship Govinda, the Premium Lord, residing in his own realm, Goloka, and permeated and visualized by ever blissful spiritual rasa. So material energy, although the Lord is always in the supreme abode, he is nonetheless all pervading by his material energy. So how to attain? Yasyanta Sthani Bhutani says that everything is sustained within Krishna and within his spiritual and material energy. And the Bhaktya is used this term to enter Krishna's abode or Vaikuntha planets is possible only through Bhakti. No other way. So the four Kumaras reached the seventh gate of Vaikuntha. They could not enter the Vaikuntha. The Lord has to come out because they were Brahmavadis before. Later they smelled the tulsi at the lotus feet of Krishna. Then they became devotees. So it's not easy to go, only through Bhakti can you go. So the Supreme Abode, the Supreme Personality Godhead, resides in the Supreme Abode and has millions of planetary expansion. Says that describes the Supreme Abode and the Supreme Personality Godhead is mentioned in Gopal Upanishad. And also the Vedas are compares the Lord with a tree bearing many flowers and fruits and leaves. Similarly, the Lord expands to planetary expansion. Says Gologera Evani Vishuddhi Agilatma Buddha. The Lord resides in the Supreme Abode and is all pervading. And Parasya Sakti Vividaiva Suyate means the Supreme Lord, although residing far away, systematically contexts everything in the cosmic manifestation by his all-pervading energy. So Krishna has different energies, external, internal. The energies will take care. So next section 23 and 23 to 28 is about the supremacy of pure devotion, attaining Krishna. So we'll see how Krishna have now concluded describing the spiritual world and the process of reaching it. Now, in the final 6 verses of this chapter, Krishna discusses the process by which a soul should leave his body to attain the Supreme. 23 to 26 is about attaining the Supreme through mystic yoga. 27 and 28 is supremacy of Bhakti in attaining the Supreme. Okay, so practical application is a devotee is confident about Krishna's protection and he need not make any special endeavor for his ultimate salvation. Because he knows Avashya Rakshibe Krishna. If a devotee doesn't remember Krishna at the time of death, Krishna says, I will remember. Mamanasmari. He will remember the devotee. So in the 23rd sloka, the different types of death is mentioned, times for a yogi, when they leave at day, night, and all that. Yatra kale tva anavrittim, avrittim chaiva yoginaha, prayate yantitam kalam vakshyami bharadarshapa. O best of Bharadas, I shall now explain to you the different times at which passing away from this world, the yogi does or does not come back. So Krishna will now explain the different times at which passing away from the world, the yogi does or does not return. However, devotee need not focus on the surrender, on his just focus only on the surrender, not worry about the exact time of his passing away. It's some devotee, they say that okay, passing on Ekadashi is good, Brahma Muhurta is good. Yes, it's good, but when it compared to a devotee, it doesn't matter which part of the time. It's like Krishna's Kalosmi. Kala is also Krishna. And as soon as they are chanting the holy name and everything, it doesn't matter what time they pass and how they pass. So Prabhupada is unalloyed devotees of the Supreme Lord who totally surrendered, do not care when they leave the body or what method they leave. They leave everything in Krishna's hands and so easily and happily return to God. But those who are not unalloyed devotees and who depend instead of such methods of spiritual realization as Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Hatha Yoga, must leave the body at a suitable time in order to be sure of whether or not to return to this world of birth and death. You see some yogis, they say, I'll pass away on such day and everything, and they control the soul and everything, and through this part of the head, the soul leaves. So can a yogi choose time of leaving? An expert yogi can choose it. Not expert in choosing, then it depends on accident or destiny. So yes, we have heard, no, some goes to Samadhi, they say, I'll pass away on such day. They are like expert yogi. So the Kala is mentioned referring to the presiding deity of time. So here it is said for the ways of leaving the body from 24 to 26. Agni Jyotir Ahasukla Sanman Masa Uttarayanam Tatra Prayata Gachanti Brahma Vidojanaha. Those who know the Supreme Brahman attain that Supreme by passing away from the world during the influence of fiery God in the light at an auspicious moment of the day, during the fortnight of the waxing moon, or during the 6 months when the sun travels in the north. Uttarayana. That's what they are saying, the path of leaving. Okay. So they say at an auspicious moment in light and fire by the influence of, some mystic yogis, they do that. They have these siddhis, ashta siddhis and all. So during the day in Shukla Paksha, they say fortnight of waxing moon in Uttarayana, the 6 months when sun travels to the north. For jnanis and yogis are the candidates and destination is the Brahmajyoti, liberation path. They say there is no return. So the path of darkness is in darkness or night during smoke in Krishna Paksha, the fortnight of waning moon in Dakshinayana. So Bhishma Dev also waited for Uttarayan. He had Ichamriti. So for karmis, it's a path, that for karmis, they get heaven and rebirth is there. Yes, Suma Mataji?
Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji, in the translation, it is given like those who know the Supreme Brahman attain the Supreme. How is it possible, Mataji? Like, because they know only the Supreme Brahman. In the translation, the first line, Mataji, those who know the Supreme Brahman attain the Supreme. How can they attain, Mataji? Like, they are in the Brahman.
No, they go to the Brahman only. They don't. This is not about the Supreme abode. They attain the Supreme in the sense they attain the Brahmajyoti. That's also Supreme only. But then see here it is said, although liberation is principle in the path of no return, attaining Brahmajyoti, the effulgence from the body of the Lord, the jnani is like to return back. That's also said as Supreme, but Supreme abode is not mentioned. No, it's not the abode. Like there is a difference between the palace and the courtyard. The Brahmachodis or the Brahma, those who are Brahmavadis or Brahman, they are in the courtyard. They are around the palace. They are not inside the palace. But that's also supreme. But then they fall down, right? They're coming back. Like that,
Okay,
Mataji. It means they go to the Brahmachodi here, effulgence from the body of the Lord. And Jnani is likely to return due to lack of spiritual engagement. There is no devotional service there, right? Only devotees can go inside. Those who are fruitive laborers and philosophical speculators from time immemorial are constantly going and coming. Actually, they do not attain the ultimate salvation, for they do not surrender to Krishna. They don't come. Second, 2 ways of leaving. Yes, Reddy Prabhu.
Mataji, I mean, in answer to Suma Mataji's question, is it something like going to sun planet versus getting the sunlight, which is available everywhere? While going to sun planet, it requires efforts.
Okay. Yes, Prabhu, like sunlight. Yes, that's Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan is compared to that, no? So sunlight or the sun, so it's like that. So they just reach to that effulgence. They don't reach inside the planet as such. So here it is said travel to the moon planet, existence of living entities on the moon planet. The third can Kapila Muni mentions that those are expert in fruitive activities and sacrificial method on earth attain to moon and death. These elevated souls live on moon for about 10,000 years, demigod calculation, and enjoy living their somaras. They eventually return to earth. This means that on the moon, there are higher classes of living entities, though they may not be pursued by gross sense. See, the scientists say there is no life in moon, but here Shastra mentions, Bhagavatam says that as Kapila Dev, who's Krishna himself, says there is life in moon and the living entities in the moon for 10,000 years. That's why Prabhupada's like, if they have landed in the moon, they can't come back because the lifespan is 10,000 years. You have to live there. And by the time you come back from moon planet, all of us would have died because our lifespan is less than that. This is one of the proof that there is living entities in the moon planet as well. Prabhupada writes in the purport, mystics who are advanced in yoga practice can arrange the time and place to leave the body. Others have no control. If by accident they leave at an auspicious moment, then they will not return to the cycle of birth and death. But otherwise, there is every possibility that they will return. However, for the pure devotees in Krishna consciousness, there is no fear of returning, whether he leaves the body at an auspicious or inauspicious moment by accident or rearrangement. But actually, even mystic yogis, they can't, there is fall down. Only during Bhakti Yoga or only when you reach Krishna's abode can we not come back. Otherwise, Aruhi Krishna Param Patam Tat Patanti Yata, right? This coming back. 27th sloka says about the path of the devotees. We have just 27 and 28, so I think we can finish the chapter today. Naitre Sri Partha Jnanan Yogi Muhyati Kashana Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Yoga Yukta Bhavarjuna. Although the devotees know these 2 paths, or Arjuna, they are never bewildered. Therefore, be always fixed in devotion. So devotees know all these parts, Shukla Paksha, Krishna Paksha, all that. But the devotee is not bewildered because they are fixed in devotion. At the time of death, the mind carries one to a new life. People in general must leave the body at a suitable time to be assured whether or not to return to this material world. But for pure devotees in Krishna consciousness, there is no fear of returning to this world, whether they leave their body at an auspicious or inauspicious moment, by accident or arrangement. In fully surrendered soul, they leave everything in Krishna's hands and easily go to the spiritual world. That's for pure devotees. And for us, Shruchinam Sripadam ki hai, we also not bothered because definitely in Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada's like, unless you practice, how will you remember Krishna at the time of death? You know, we can't. So the rest is on Krishna's hand. But then path of unalloyed devotees, pure devotees can leave at any time. Path of unalloyed devotees, right? They go to Krishna's world. So how to stay absorbed in Krishna is best way is to be absorbed in Krishna consciousness, is to always devotee in his service. This will make one's path to spiritual kingdom safe and certain and direct. The word yoga yukta is especially significant in this word. One who is firm in yoga is constantly engaged in Krishna conscious activities. And Guru Bhagavad also says, Anasaktasya Vishaya Yadarham Upayunjade Nirbande Krishna Sambande Yukta Vairagya Muchade. One should be unattached to material affairs and do everything in Krishna consciousness. By this system, there is Yukta Vairagya. Everything is used in Krishna service. So although the devotees know the 2 paths, they are so fixed in devotion that they are sure where they go. And the last sloka says, Vedeshu yajneshu tapassu chaiva dhaneshu yat punya phalam pratishtam atyedi tat sarvamidam viditva yogi param sthanam upaiti chatyam. A person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the results derived from studying the Vedas, performing sacrifice, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all this, and at the end, he reaches the supreme eternal abode. So that's why pure devotional service is so important, right? So they have different lives. There is brahmachari life, there is grihastha, there is vanaprastha, and sannyas. These are 4 orders. So bhakti will surpass all the rituals in these 4 orders of life. So brahmacharis, they study Vedas, they do swadhyaya under spiritual master, they train in celibacy, right? And their Vedic study is done. And household life, there is sacrifice, charity according to time, place, and circumstance. And vanaprastha, there are severe penances, right? And sometimes living in the forest. Forest here means vana. This is Vrindavan. And then sannyas. So here, in all these stages, there is elevation to the perfect stage of life, and some elevated to heavenly kingdom. Prabhupada says, most of my disciples will go to heavenly planets. Why? Because they had so many material desires also. So when one one's further advanced, one gets liberated in the spiritual sky. So bhakti surpasses everything. That's the beauty of Krishna consciousness. By one stroke of devotional service, one can surpass all rituals of different ashramas. So it is called idam viditva, means that one should understand the instruction given by Sri Krishna in this chapter and the 7th chapter. One should try to understand that these chapters is not for scholarship or mental speculation, but by hearing them in association with devotees, we should understand the importance of Bhakti Yoga. In chapter 7 through 12 are essence of Bhagavad Gita, because that's about Bhakti. The first 6 and last 6 chapters is about Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga, and covering the middle 6 chapters is especially protected by the Lord. If one is fortunate enough to understand Bhagavad Gita, especially these middle 6 chapters in association with devotees, and then his life at once become glorified beyond penance, sacrifice, charity, and speculation. But one can achieve the results of these activities simply by Krishna consciousness. Okay, so first we understood the different stages: Ado, Shraddha, Sadhu Sangha, Bhajana Kriya, and Artha Nivriti, Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, Prema. These are the 9 stages of Bhakti. So here it is said Ado Shraddha, right? That Ado Shraddha means starting little faith in Bhagavad Gita. Then there is Sadhu Sangha. We all come together. There is sign of faith is we learn from a qualified devotee and not mentally speculating. And then, like Srila Prabhupada, we are learning from him. Then there's Bhajana Kriya. There was service, we are chanting. And Artha Nivriti. All the misgivings are all dispelled. Then there is Nishtha, and become fixed in one study. Nishtha means fixed. Okay, and then there is Ruchi and Asakti. There's relishing the study, attaining the state of feeling away from Krishna consciousness, and Bhava and Prema. There's advanced stage. They fall completely in love with Krishna, and then they transfer to Krishna's abode, eternal happiness. So we'll have a quick breakout room. So I have network issue. I might leave after this breakout room. I don't know. So what we do is co-host Gunashri Mataji and Ganesh and Prabhu just take care. I'll try to join to another device sometimes. We'll see. But then I'll quickly come back, okay? Give reference to appropriate verses and statement from Srila Prabhupada's purport from chapter 8 and describe how you're applying them to prepare for the time of death. The question is very scary, but then this is also preparing for the time of death. A devotee should not be scared of death, because we know we are spirit soul and we are doing devotional service. But then how do you apply it and how do you prepare at the time of death? You got that question? I'll put in the chat. That's the last slide. Yeah, from this chapter, give reference and verses and statement from Srila Prabhupada's purport. And how do you apply it in your life at the time of preparing death? Yeah, it's given, Prabhupada is mentioned only chapter 8. I mean, the question is only on chapter 8. Okay, please copy this question and you go to breakout room, you can post it there. Okay.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Okay. So I'll mute everyone. Yeah, who likes to go first? Hare Krishna.
Suma
Yes.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji, as by Bhakti Yoga, which is the simplest way, and that is from the Shloka 8.40, which is the simplest way to attain the Lord, just by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. One can simply gain the Lord's mercy, and he can go back to Goloka Vrindavan. And by making our life easier, like making it as Yukta Vairagis, one completely dedicates his life in Krishna consciousness, irrespective of the time and place, he will be ready to leave his body in the perfect way by remembering the Lord at the time of death. And from Shlokas 8.5, as it is given, like at the time of death, Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha. So I have made only key points, Mataji. And from 8.6 Shloka, Yam Yam Vapi Smaran Bhavam. And from 8.7, Mam Anusmara Yudhyacha, like thinking about the Lord with all doing our activities, daily activities, only about and doing our activities and thinking about the Lord, we will be able to remember the Lord at the time of death. And 8.8, Abhyasa Yogena, with only practice it is possible. Only by chanting regularly and doing devotional service every day, we will be able to remember the Lord at the time of death. And from 8.10 Shloka, Prayana Kale Manasa Chalena, with undeviating mind, one fixes himself on the Lord. And 8.13 Shloka also, my Mataji, even by reciting Omkara, and if one thinks about the Lord, they will be able to attain the spiritual planets, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes. Okay. Next room.
Hare Krishna Mataji. In 8th chapter,
Room number 2. And Sunita
Yes.
Mataji is from
Three.
room number
room number 3. Room number 3.
Okay.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Actually, in Shloka 5th and 6th and 7th, Krishna is telling that Antakalecha Mameva Smaran Dukha Kalevar. One who remembers at the time of death, quits his body, remembering Krishna, can attain his body, attain Krishna. And whatever state one is remembers his body, he will attain without fail. Like Maharaj Bharat, he thought of deer at the time of death. Though he was situated in the bhava stage, he fell down. So
Yes.
as Prabhupada always says that padam yat vipadam tesha. So if there is a fall down for even for a devotee, regardless of his stage. So we have to understand this, and we have to be very careful in our daily life, remembering Krishna. So in my own experience, I'm telling, earlier I never used to think about Krishna. Only doing my sadhana, I used to think about Krishna. But now, as gradually I'm increasing my sadhana and doing everything, so I'm able to think Krishna even when I'm outside also. And whenever I see sun and moon, and whenever I drink water, and all these times I'm able to recall Krishna's name and his face, everything. So it's a practice for me.
Yeah.
Whenever I leave my house, I'll tell Krishna that I'm going into the world of Maya. Please, there is a less chance of remembering you, Krishna, but please protect me from whatsoever danger comes to me. Please protect me. So this is a habit, and I before going to bed, and immediately after waking up, I bow down to him. And so gradually and eventually, because without practice, nobody can remember Krishna at the time of death, because death is inevitable and it is unpredictable also. And it's as in 10th shloka, it says yoga balena. That is only with the strength and the practice of yoga. Yoga means connecting with Krishna in any way, like Bhakti yoga, Gnana yoga, Karma yoga. There are so many yogas. So we can connect with Krishna, but for a devotee, it is very easy, because it's not that one particular time he'll think of Krishna, nothing like that. So on a daily basis, wherever he is, however he will be, he'll be able to think of Krishna. So that is yoga balena. So for a devotee, it's very essential for him to think of Krishna throughout his life, gradually and eventually, and pratyahara. And like, it's for a Ashtanga yogi, it is very easy, but for a devotee, it's very difficult. But gradually he can do that. Pratyahara means slowly, gradually withdrawing senses from the sensual enjoyment. So this is how I apply, Mataji. Hare
Good,
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, so room number 1.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji, can I start?
Yes.
Yeah, we found, sloka number 5, where Krishna talks about one who remembers me at the time of death, he always reaches my abode. And our Prabhupada recommends one should start chanting the Maha Mantra. And by chanting Maha Mantra, he always remembers Krishna. And without chanting, and the normal soul, impure soul cannot remember. So we all keep chanting Maha Mantra Jabam, and that helps us to reach some level in the Krishna consciousness and engage ourselves in the devotional service. Sloka number 14, one should engage in devotional service, and where the pure devotee is not doing anything else except only remembering and doing devotional